I'm Roger.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to another one of RC Street Shop's how-to videos.
And what will we be how-toing today?
Today we're going to how to rebuild and beef up your Traxxas two-wheel drive transmission.
So, looks like we're going to be doing some stuff.
So we have the transmission out of my Rustler, which is pretty worn. It's seen some abuse.
So you said specifically at the top of the video, two-wheel drive.
All two-wheel drive Traxxas cars have the same trans. Doesn't matter whether it's a Bigfoot, Rustler, Slash, Stampede. They all have the same transmission.
Okay, all right.
So this goes for all the two-wheel drive Traxxas 10-scale cars.
Alrighty. Let's see. If folks are going to be playing along at home today, what other tools are they going to need besides, obviously, a vehicle?
Well, you need to pull the trans out of your car. That will require either a Phillips head screwdriver or 2.5 and 2.0 hex wrenches. Once you have the car out, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. You're also going to need a 1.5 millimeter driver and a 2.5 millimeter driver and a little T-wrench to get the nut off of the slipper clutch. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to take this transmission, we're going to replace the bearings in it with ceramic bearings.
Okay.
We're going to do a Robinson Racing hardened steel idler gear. We're also going to do the Hot Racing sealed differential.
Okay.
Because the Traxxas cars don't have a sealed diff, so you can't really do anything other than put grease in it, which pretty much stinks because it doesn't give you any extra traction. Okay. And once the grease wears out, then you really don't have any. You have a big open differential and you have one wheel drive, and it's terrible. My Rustler tends to just kind of slither down the road sideways because it's just got one wheel pushing all the power. So we're going to fix that with this sealed differential.
Alrighty.
So first thing we're going to do is remove the axles. 1.5 millimeter driver. Crack that loose. It's in plastic, so it shouldn't be very tight.
Alrighty.
The little pin comes out. Put that aside so you don't lose it, or you're going to be going to RC Street Shop going, "Do you have axle pins?"
And we'll be like, "No, we're sold out."
Yep.
And then you'll cry.
Yes, you will.
And that won't make anybody happy.
No, we won't. We don't like seeing people cry. Get it. Next, we're going to remove the slipper clutch. Today we're cheating and we're using a drill for everything because Roger's tired of having tired hands.
And there's lots of screwing involved, so we're going to use the drill.
There's always lots of screwing involved. And then we're going to loosen the slipper.
Alright.
Now this trans we did, this Rustler has a Mamba Max Pro and a 4S 50C 5000 battery in it.
Of course.
So it kills the stock slippers. So something we did already off camera to upgrade it is do carbon fiber slipper pads from Hot Racing.
Gotcha.
Those are a very worthwhile upgrade if you want to use the stock slipper setup and make a lot of power.
Gotcha.
I'm going to pull that off. Don't lose this pin. Put all these parts aside here.
And over there.
Now we have our bare transmission.
Alright.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to split the case.
Time to split you, case.
Yep, 2 pieces you will be soon. I'm using a drill for your segment out there in YouTube land. Because nothing's more exciting than watching someone loosen screws. Okay, so we got all the case screws out. Now we'll just separate.
Ooh,
and
fancy.
That is your 2 transmission halves. This is your intermediate gear right here. This is your, here's a little thing on how a 3-gear tranny works. So essentially, this goes here. Here's your intermediate gear. So your spur gear spins this, which spins the intermediate gear, which then spins the differential, which then spins your axles.
Oh.
And that is how your car drives. And this is essentially the same transmission setup that every single two-wheel drive car has had since the beginning of time.
Okay.
Associated actually created this. It was called the Stealth Tranny, the first 3-gear trans. And it was such a good design, everyone copied it.
It's become sort of the standard.
It has. So, now, we're going to pop the bearings out of this. Then we're going to pop the bearings out of this. Get all the screws out first. Don't forget all your little special washers and stuff.
That's probably the hardest part about doing upgrades like this is remembering what order those things stack into.
Yeah, it is very true. So here are all our used bearings. We're not going to use those again. Here are our washers, 1, 2.
Which is why we suggest, if you're going to do this, not only watch the video, but go to the site and look at the instructions or the exploded view.
Right.
If that's all that's available.
Right. So now what we're going to do is nitro clean the case.
Okay, huff the nitro clean.
And read.
Okay, light's good. It's red light.
Okay. Make sure we clean everything off nice.
All right.
There's no more nitro clean in the back room?
No.
Damn it.
And there isn't any in the bathroom?
No, apparently not. So, now we're going to put our bearings in.
All right.
Some of you out there in YouTube land are asking about part numbers. This is an Acer bearing kit for the Rustler VXL. There you go.
That we normally don't stock, but
Roger wanted it, so we got it. So if you want to follow along, these ceramic Acer bearings are awesome. Then we take our Robinson gear, put the bearings in it. That's not right. It's not going to go in right. Onto our intermediate shaft. That goes back to the trans. Oh wait, we got to use our spacers.
Remember that part where I told you folks have the exploded view?
Right. On 3-gear trainings, the intermediate shaft is usually the biggest point of failure.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
This is the most common failure point. Next, our top shaft will sit in here. And we'll put our bearings in here. Some of you might be asking, why are we not doing an aluminum trans case or an RPM trans case? And the reason for that is we have found in the past that if you're going to change all the gears to stronger gears, the transmission case for the Traxxas car is the best one to use because we've had fitment issues with anything but stock Traxxas gears.
Gotcha.
So the RPM case, we've had problems where if you put the Robinson intermediate gear in there, the transmission gears all bind up.
Gotcha.
We haven't tried the hot racing aluminum case, but I didn't want to go and pull it out of the package and find out that it didn't work and waste all that time.
Makes sense.
And there's really nothing wrong with the stock transmission case with the Traxxas, except for the fact that The arm holders are there, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the trans comes out in literally 2 minutes, so if you break arm holders, it's not that big of a deal.
Gotcha.
So, but if any of you have any comments about that, about what will and won't work,
you've had good success with.
Yeah, let us know. We're always open to suggestions. Next, we're going to put together the Hot Racing sealed differential. What's clever about the Hot Racing differential is it uses the stock Traxxas gears. So there's nothing wrong with the stock Traxxas gears. So why not use them?
That's a good point.
It just seals up the stock design. So you have a sealed diff you can put silicone fluid into. As you can see, this is full of all kinds of grease and fun stuff. So we're going to pull all the gears out. They're nice and greasy.
On this side of the camera, that looks scary. Like this is the part that would make me nervous.
Right. No, understandable. Get out of there, mister. So now we have our bare Traxxas differential. These aren't bad. They have metal gears on them. I mean, they're tough, but they're not sealed, so we don't want them.
Okay. Now, Roger, tell us how you really feel.
Okay, so now we're going to open up. Let's not do that yet. So this should go together like so. We should be able to put the pins in. Pins. And pins. And then the gears. Let's give these things a little bit of a hit of nitro clean if we have any left. Just so we know that there's not too much grease in here. Oh, that stings.
Well, don't do that.
But we gotta clean our gears. Okay. Next, we will take our newly cleaned gears, slide them onto the pins. It looks like this is meant to have the pins installed on this side here, and then this side here, and then slide the. Actually, should the. Okay. Now we need to get hardware and the seals out of here. Why must you make it so hard to get everything out? Okay, so in the package you get these two big O-rings right here. You get some hardware, and you get these two O-rings right here.
Okay.
Those two O-rings are for the axle shafts. So we're going to slide them over the axles right here, like so. And then it keeps the fluid from coming out when we set it down like that.
Oh, okay.
So that half is done there. Next, our other axle shaft. Put the O-ring on there. Go through the other side. Now you have that in there. And now we should be ready for silicone grease. So what we'll do is we'll open up. We're going to use 500,000 Traxxas grease in ours.
Okay.
And where's our little applicator? There it is. Which we don't need to use. Okay, so we're just going to fill this up with grease. Glob it all in there.
It doesn't matter if the screws are, if the gears are in there right. Sideways is fine.
This stuff is like peanut butter, and
yeah, it is.
Like,
it's very thick and goopy.
Yeah, so now that we get it in there, we're going to take these O-rings, which are not really sized. They are, okay, there we go. Fit them in there, and then fit this down here. And then we're going to take the other O-ring, fit it in here. Look at that, how it all fits together. And they're
Looks like it
gonna
was
take,
designed for it.
I know, let's take this side, and we're going to oh, look at that. You got to put, okay. Maybe I should have done a test run of this before we. Where did the other pin go? It's with the gear. Okay, so note to self, assemble this stuff on one side. Okay.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
There is your hot racing differential.
All right.
With
lots of goop on Roger's hands.
Yep. All right. So now we're going to put our hot racing diff in.
All right.
And as you can see,
it looks all hot racing.
All spaced out. Yeah. So really, just a quick note on the side. No one makes a hardened steel top shaft gear for the Traxxas, and I don't know why, but it doesn't exist. Now, the issue you run into with these trannies is this pin tends to snap.
Okay.
So what I've seen online, what a lot of guys do is they get hardened steel pins and they press them in there. And that kind of eliminates it. We haven't had that problem yet, but we have seen it in the shop where people snap top pins.
Gotcha.
So if that happens, someone should really harass, like Robinson
or Hot
Racing, about doing a billet idler shaft. They do them for the RC10s.
Yeah.
So if you have a B5 or a B6, you can get a one-piece billet hardened idler shaft. And that's really not a car that uses it that much, because no one goes and puts monster motors in those cars. They race them. So now we slide our case back together.
Everything should just kind of slide back.
Yep, the way it did when it was, it would help if we put it back together right.
Well, details, right? Details.
Yeah, like if we actually reverse this. So, hey, what do I know?
What do I know? I just work in the hobby shop.
Right. There we go. Now it'll go back together.
Yay.
There we go. Now we have our transmission done. With our bearings and our...
Basically, you're just going to put the case back together. And
so essentially just reverse of
what you saw
us doing, and you're good. So let's do that. So I know some of you guys love power tools like this. This is a plastic housing. You don't need to go crazy torquing this down.
Yeah.
And we'll check it again. Yep, nice and smooth. And we will reattach our drive shafts. It'd be nice if I did it so you could see it, right?
Well,
All right. All right, and now the other side. So there you have it. That's how you rebuild and or beef up your two-wheel drive Traxxas transmission.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Without too much fumbling around.
Without too much fumbling. All the fumbling Adam edited out after the fact.
Be thankful.
There you go, exactly. So why, well, it's not that this is a preventative maintenance, but why is doing this a good idea? Why would somebody be considering changing these parts out?
Once you run the car for a while, the bearings are going to wear out. Okay. And that's going to cause problems inside the gearbox. It can cause you not slipper clutch, but it can cause you problems with the spur gear. Mm-hmm. Once the bearing gets loose, the spur gear will walk around, strip spur gears. I mean, this is something you're eventually going to have to do.
Gotcha.
If you have a problem, if you have a lot of power, you may end up breaking stuff inside the transmission. There's just a lot that goes inside. I mean, it's a simple trans, but there's a lot that can go wrong in there. So
and the whole car kind of depends on it working right.
Yeah, you're not driving anymore if your transmission's broken.
This is very, very
so, and plus, for those of you who have a lot of power and are trying to keep your car going straight, the sealed differential option is great because now we're going to have double the traction. So it should help out quite a bit.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the easiest, 10 being the hardest, where does this fall in?
I'd say this falls into an 8.
An 8? Really?
If you're doing this hot racing diff. The diff's not the easiest to put together, but once you do it once, and you get the run through.
What you didn't see in video was, what Roger was having trouble with was after all the parts were in, it seems like it should be very easily just lined all up.
Right.
Getting the screw hole to line up exactly with the
little difficult.
Was took a little trial and error. We had to take it apart a few times.
Problem you run into is that you're screwing the gear. The center gear is separate from the case, so you got to line the center gear up, and then line up the top part up. So you're trying to get 3 pieces and line up all together. And if you don't, then the screw can't find the threads in the bottom part, and
So, in theory, very simple, like you saw the way it go together, but you may need some precision and some patience.
What I would do in retrospect now is I would assemble it first.
See how it all
goes together, and then before you put fluid in there, because fluid makes it impossible to find everything.
Yeah, because then you can't suddenly see the holes.
Right, so do a dry run, assemble it, and then once you're done, pull the top off, fill it with silicone fluid, then screw it together, and then you'll be okay.
All right. Let's see. If folks might be interested in looking at some aftermarket parts to maybe upgrade their transmission, is there somewhere they can do that?
They sure can.
Where is that?
RC Street Shop.
Oh, that's where we are.
5521 East Spring Street, Long Beach, California, 90808.
And folks are geographically challenged and can't actually come to the store. Is there some way that maybe they could pick up the phone and call us?
562-425-9000.
9,000.
9,000.
And if words into a phone is too much for you, you can always send us an email, info@rcstreetshop.com. We are also doing the social media thing. We are on Twitter, RC Street Shop, all one word. We're on Instagram, RC Street Shop, all one word there as well. And we got the Facebook page thing happening, so like the page if that's what you prefer. We would appreciate it. We also got the YouTube channel. We try and get a video out every week for you when we can. And, last couple of weeks, we've been busy with the holidays, and then everybody on the staff got the flu. When one person gets sick, everybody gets sick. Yeah. So, barring that, you get a video every week one way or another, and this was this week's. We appreciate you watching the videos. Please like the video, but more importantly, subscribe! Subscribe to the whole darn channel. We would appreciate it. Let your friends know we're doing these, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.